Daewon could not stop his hands from shaking. He stood on the bridge of the spaceship called Horizon. Through the big window in front of him, he could see something that should not exist. A ship hung in the dark space. But it was not like any ship humans had ever built. It was huge. It glowed with colors that hurt to look at. The colors seemed to move and change like water flowing upward. "Captain," Hyun said from her seat. She controlled all the communications on the ship. Her voice was tight. She was trying hard not to sound too excited or scared. "They are trying to talk to us again." Daewon took a deep breath. This was the moment. The moment humans had waited for. The moment they had dreamed about for hundreds of years. They were not alone in the universe. Someone else was out there. Someone who wanted to talk. "Open the channel," Daewon said. His voice came out stronger than he felt. The screen in front of them changed. An alien appeared. Daewon had seen many movies about aliens. He had read many books. But nothing had prepared him for this. The creature was not solid. It kept changing. One moment it looked almost like a person. The next moment it looked like light itself. Reality seemed confused about what shape it should be. Then it spoke. But not with sound. The words appeared directly in Daewon's mind. They were gentle, patient, like a teacher speaking to a young student. "We are the Valari," the voice said inside his head. "We have watched your people for a long time. You are in danger. Your sun is becoming sick. Your planet is running out of things you need to live. In 3 generations, your species will die. We want to help you. We want to give you knowledge that will save you." Before Daewon could answer, Jiwoo made a sound. Jiwoo was the ship's engineer. He understood all the machines. His computer screen was lighting up like fireworks. Data was flooding into their systems. "Captain," Jiwoo said. His eyes were huge. His mouth hung open. I cannot believe what I am seeing. They are sending us plans for fusion drives. That means we can travel much faster. They are sending us ways to make clean energy, ways to fix our air, ways to cure diseases we do not even have names for yet. This technology is hundreds of years ahead of us. Maybe thousands. Daewon felt like his throat was closing. He looked at the alien on the screen. "The Valari. The being that was giving them everything they needed to survive. Why?" Daewon asked. "Why are you helping us? What do you want from us?" The Valari's shape rippled. If it had been human, Daewon would have said it was feeling sad. Or maybe it was feeling something humans did not have a word for. "We were once like you," the Valari said. "Long ago. So long ago that your son was not even born yet. We were young. We were afraid. We did not know if we would survive. Then another species found us. An older species. They helped us. They gave us knowledge. They asked for nothing. Because of them we lived. We grew, we learned. Now we do the same. We help younger species. We ask nothing back. We only hope you will use this gift wisely." The screen went dark. The alien ship began to glow brighter. Then space around it seemed to fold. Like paper being bent, the ship disappeared. It was just gone. The crew of the Horizon sat in total silence. No one spoke. No one moved. Hyun was the first to break the silence. Tears were running down her face. Her voice shook when she spoke. "They just gave it to us, everything. They did not want money. They did not want us to be their slaves. They did not want anything. They just helped us." Jiwoo was crying too. He was looking at his screens, at all the information the Valari had given them. "There is so much here," he said quietly. "This will save Earth. This will save everyone." Daewon stared at the empty space where the Valari ship had been. He felt something change inside him. It was not guilt. It was not like he owed them a debt. It was something deeper than that. Something more important. He thought about what the Valari had said. They were helped once. So they helped others. It was simple, beautiful. It made sense in a way that trade or politics never could. "We have to remember this," Daewon said. His voice was soft, but every person on the bridge heard him clearly. "We have to remember what they did for us. Not because we owe them, but because this is important. They showed us that the universe can be kind, that powerful beings can choose to help instead of hurt." Hyun looked at him. "What do you mean?" Daewon turned to face his crew. "Someday we will be the strong ones. Someday we will be the ones with knowledge and power. When that day comes, we need to remember this moment. We need to remember how it felt to be saved, and we need to do the same for someone else. The crew was quiet. Then one by one they nodded. They understood. The Valari had not just given them technology. They had given them something more valuable. They had given them an example. A way to be. Over the next few days, the Horizon flew back to Earth. The news spread fast. Aliens had made contact. Aliens had saved humanity. The world changed overnight. Governments worked together for the first time in decades. Scientists from every country studied the Valari technology together. There were no secrets. No one tried to keep the knowledge for themselves, because everyone understood. This was not a time for greed. This was not a time for old fights. The Valari had given humans a gift. The only way to honor that gift was to use it for everyone. Daewon watched from Earth as the first fusion reactor was built using Valari designs. He watched as the air started to get cleaner. He watched as sick people got better with new medicines. He watched as humanity took its first real steps toward becoming something greater. But he never forgot that moment on the bridge, the moment when a being of pure light and knowledge had looked at struggling humans and chose kindness. He never forgot the feeling of being saved for no reason, except that it was the right thing to do. And he promised himself that humanity would remember too. That when their time came, they would pass this kindness forward, just like the Valari had done for them. 50 years had passed since the day the Valari came. Bora walked through the halls of the Seoul Space Institute. The walls around her hummed with quiet power. Fusion reactors built from Valari knowledge powered everything. She looked out the window as she walked. The sky was blue. Really blue. Not the gray blue that old people remembered from their childhood. The air was clean now. The earth was healing. Young Soo walked quickly behind her. He was her assistant. He was young and always in a hurry. Dr. Bora, he said, trying to catch his breath. The World Council is waiting for you. They want to hear what you have found. They want your advice about the deep space program. Bora nodded. She had spent the last year studying signals from space, watching, listening, learning. And what she had found was amazing. Humanity was not special. The Valari had not just helped humans. They had helped many species. And those species had been helped by others before that. It was like a chain of kindness that stretched back through time. The council chamber was beautiful. Its walls were made of clear metal that you could see through. Outside, Earth's new space ring floated in orbit. Hundreds of stations connected in a circle around the planet. 500 years ago, such a thing would have been impossible. Now it was normal. Tae-yang stood up as Bora entered. He was the leader of the World Council. His hair was gray, but his eyes were sharp and kind. Dr. Bora, he said, please tell us what you have learned. Bora moved to the center of the room. She pressed a button and a map of stars appeared in the air. A hologram that everyone could see. We found a pattern, she began. Signals in space. Communications between different species. We have been listening and learning. The Valari were not unique. All across this part of the galaxy, older species help younger ones. It is a tradition. Something they all do. This chain of helping goes back millions of years. The council members looked at each other. Hyunwoo leaned forward in his seat. He was one of the oldest members of the council. What does this mean for us? He asked. What is our place in this chain? Bora smiled. She pressed another button. The star map changed. It showed new stars. Closer stars. We have found 17 species near us. Young species. Species that are struggling. Some are facing disasters that will kill them all. Others are trapped. They do not have the technology to save themselves. They are running out of time. She paused and looked around the room. We have the power to help them. The room became very quiet. Every person there understood what she was saying. They could help. They could be like the Valari. They could save lives. Tae-yang stood up. He looked old and tired, but his voice was strong. Then we will help them, he said simply. Not because we owe the Valari. Not because we have to. But because it is right. Someone helped us when we needed it. We remember that. We will never forget. Now it is our turn. Every member of the council voted yes. No one said no. No one even thought about saying no. It was clear what had to be done. Within 1 year, Earth's first help fleet was ready. The ships were beautiful, built with both Valari technology and human improvements. Humans had not just copied what the Valari gave them. They had made it better. They had changed it to work in different situations. The fusion drives could now work on planets with different gravity. The medicine could heal species that breathed different air. The farming systems could grow food in atmospheres that would kill humans. Everything was adapted. Everything was ready. Sujin was chosen to captain the first help ship. It was called the Benefactor. She was nervous but excited. This was what humanity was meant to do. This was their purpose. The first species they helped was called the Korathi. Their planet was dying. The air was poison. They had built too many factories, made too much pollution. In 20 years, every Korathi would be dead. They knew it. They were afraid. They thought there was no hope. The Benefactor arrived in orbit above their world. Sujin spoke to their leaders. She explained that humanity wanted to help. She showed them the technology, ways to clean their air, ways to fix their planet, ways to survive. The Korathi did not understand at first. They thought it was a trick. They thought humans wanted something, but Sujin was patient. She explained again and again. She told them about the Valari, about how an ancient species had saved humanity, about how humans had promised to pass that kindness forward. It took 6 months. 6 months of teaching, 6 months of building machines, 6 months of showing the Korathi how to save themselves. And then one day something amazing happened. The sky cleared. For the first time in 5 generations, the Korathi could see their sun without filters. Children who had never seen blue sky cried with joy. Parents who thought their children would die young now had hope. The Korathi elder came to meet Sujin in person. He was old. His scales were dull with age, but his eyes were bright with tears. "Why did you do this?" he asked. His voice shook. "What do you want from us? What do we have to give you?" Sujin smiled. It was a sad smile. A happy smile. A smile that held 50 years of memory. "Nothing," she said. "We want nothing from you. Someone helped us once, when we were dying, when we had no hope. They helped us and asked for nothing. Now we do the same. We help you, and when you are strong again, when you are ready, you can help someone else. That is all we ask. Remember this feeling. Remember being saved. And pass it forward." The elder stared at her. He did not speak for a long time. Then he bowed. It was a deep bow, a bow of respect and gratitude and wonder. "We will remember," he promised. "We will never forget." Sujin returned to Earth a hero, but she did not feel like a hero. She felt like she had done what anyone should do, what anyone would do if they remembered being helped. More ships were built. More species were helped. The chain continued. The chain grew, and humanity, once the youngest and weakest, became teachers, became helpers, became part of something ancient and beautiful. Bora watched it all from Earth. She was old now. Her hair was white, but she smiled as she watched the ships leave, each one carrying hope, each one carrying the gift the Valari had given so long ago, the gift of kindness, the gift of help, the gift of a better universe. 200 years had passed since humanity joined the Great Chain, 200 years of helping others, 200 years of peace and growth, but now everything was about to change. Jinho stood before the Galactic Assembly. Around him sat representatives from 300 different species. Some breathed oxygen like humans, some breathed methane, some did not breathe at all. But all of them were silent. All of them were afraid. Jinho was an admiral now. He commanded Earth's space fleet. But today he was not here as a commander. He was here to deliver terrible news. "The Velari homeworld is dying," he said. His voice was calm, but his hands shook. "Their sun is sick. Something is wrong deep inside it. The scientists say the sun will explode, or maybe collapse. Either way, the Valari have 5 years. Maybe less. Then their whole star system will be destroyed." The chamber erupted. Everyone started talking at once. A Korathi delegate stood up. His scales were bright green, not dull like the old elder that Sujin had met so long ago. "But the Valari are the oldest," he said. "They are the wisest. They have technology we cannot even understand. Surely they can save themselves." Jinho shook his head slowly. "This was the worst part. That is the problem," he explained. "Their technology is too advanced. It is too connected to their world. Their cities are not built. They are grown, like plants, like trees. They cannot be moved. Their power comes from deep inside their planet. It is linked to the core through quantum connections we do not understand. To move the Valari, they would have to rebuild everything, their entire civilization, from the beginning. And they do not have time." The assembly fell quiet again. It was a heavy silence. A sad silence. Every species in this room had been helped by the Valari, either directly or indirectly. The Valari had started the chain. They had taught the teachers. They had saved the saviors, and now they were dying and no one could help them. Species after species stood up. Each one offered what they could: money, resources, technology. But everyone knew it was not enough. How do you save a species whose technology is millions of years beyond your own? Then Mi-sun stood up. She was Earth's chief engineer. She was small and quiet, but when she spoke, everyone listened. What if we do not try to match their technology? She asked. Everyone turned to look at her. What do you mean? Jinho asked. Mi-sun walked to the center of the chamber. She pulled up images in the air, plans, designs, ships. The Valari gave us their knowledge, but we built our civilization differently. We kept things simple, modular, easy to move. We did this because we remembered what it was like to be fragile. We planned for disasters. We planned for evacuations. We built everything so it could be taken apart and moved. She changed the images. Now they showed massive ships, space stations, habitats that could hold millions of people. We cannot save their cities, Mi-sun continued. We cannot save their technology. But we can save them. We can save the Valari themselves. Humanity has built 300 colony ships in the last 100 years. We have space stations everywhere. We know how to evacuate populations. We know how to move entire civilizations. Jinho stared at her. His mind was racing. You want to evacuate the Valari? He asked slowly. All of them? Their entire species? Mi-sun nodded. Not just humans. We cannot do it alone. But together? She turned to face the assembly. Every species here was helped by the Valari. Every civilization in this room exists because of them. We pool our resources, our ships, our stations, our knowledge. We work together. We show them what they created when they chose to help instead of ignore, when they chose kindness over cruelty. For a moment, no one moved. Then a Karathi stood up, then a Threx, then a Bendari. One by one, every species in the assembly rose to their feet. The vote was instant, unanimous. No one said no. No one even thought about it. Operation Homecoming was born. The next few months were chaos. Good chaos, productive chaos. Every species contributed. The Karathi brought massive farming platforms. They could grow food for millions. The Threx provided medical stations. They were the best doctors in the galaxy. The Bendari gave processing centers. The Ixir offered transportation networks. And humanity gave the framework. The structure, the plan. Humans were good at logistics. Good at organizing. Good at making sure everyone worked together without fighting or competing. Ships began to gather. Hundreds of ships. Then thousands. They came from every corner of the galaxy. Big ships and small ships. Military vessels and civilian transports. Every ship that could carry people. Every station that could hold refugees. Jinho was put in charge of the entire operation. It was the biggest rescue mission in galactic history. Maybe the biggest in all of history anywhere. He stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the fleet gathering around him. Thousands of ships, representing 300 species. All here for one purpose. To save the ones who had saved them. Mi-sun came to stand beside him. She looked tired. She had not slept much in the last month. Do you think it will work? She asked quietly. Jinho looked at her. Then he looked back at the fleet. At the impossible number of ships. At the miracle of cooperation that should not have been possible. It has to work, he said. The Valari taught us something important. They taught us that the universe can be kind. That powerful beings can choose to help. If we let them die now after everything they did, what does that say about us? What does that say about the chain they started? Mi-sun nodded. She understood. Then we will make it work, she said. The fleet began to move, slowly at first. Then faster. They jumped through space. Folding distance. Racing against time. The Valari homeworld waited ahead. A planet full of beings who had saved countless species. Who had asked for nothing in return. Who had given everything. Now it was time to give back. Time to show the Valari what their kindness had created. Time to save the saviors. The Valari star system was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Jae-hwan stood on the bridge of the ESS Remember and watched through the window. The Valari sun glowed with sick colors, reds and purples that should not exist. Its light flickered, sometimes bright, sometimes dim, like a heartbeat that was failing. Around the Remember, Thousands of ships moved in careful patterns. It looked like a dance, a complicated, precise dance.
Ships from 300 species.
Each one doing their part. Yunji was his first officer. She sat at the communications console. Her job was to coordinate everything, to make sure all the ships worked together, to keep the rescue organized. Habitat Cluster 17 is full, she reported. Her voice was tired but steady. Moving to Habitat 18, Jaehwan nodded. He watched as another massive colony ship moved into position. It was the size of a small moon, Korathi built, designed to hold 50,000 people. Or in this case, 50,000 Valari. The Valari came in waves. They flowed up from their planet like water flowing upward. Their bodies shifted and changed as they moved. They were beings of energy and matter both. Strange and beautiful. Jaehwan had studied their biology. Or tried to. The Valari were not like other species. They existed partially in normal space and partially in some other dimension. They needed special environments to survive. Environments that humans had worked for months to create. A Valari elder came to the bridge. Its form settled into something almost human-shaped. It was easier for them to communicate that way. Through the mental link they all shared, Jaehwan felt the elder's confusion. These ships of the elder communicated directly into his mind. This entire operation, all these species, all these resources. We gave you technology 200 years ago. It was a simple gift. This response is too much. It is disproportionate. Jaehwan turned to face the elder. He had practiced what he wanted to say, but now that the moment was here, the words felt inadequate. You gave us more than technology, he said. You gave us hope. We were dying. Our species was maybe 3 generations from extinction. We were afraid. We were alone. And then you came. You helped us for no reason except that it was right. You taught us that the universe could be kind. He gestured to the fleet around them, to the thousands of ships, the millions of beings all working together. Every ship here represents a species you saved, either directly or indirectly. You helped the Korathi. The Korathi helped the Bandari. The Bandari helped the Ixir, on and on. The chain continued. The chain grew. You started a cascade of kindness that spread across the entire galaxy. The Valari's form rippled. Jaehwan felt its emotions through their connection. Surprise, confusion, and something that might have been grief. We did not intend, the elder began. That is what makes it matter, Jaehwan interrupted gently. You did not help us because you wanted something back. You helped us because it was right, because you remembered being helped once, because you chose compassion over indifference. Now we do the same. Please let us save you. The elder was quiet for a long time. Then its form shifted, became more solid, more real. We understand, it said. And through their link, Jaehwan felt acceptance, gratitude, and something deeper, something like family. The evacuation took 3 years. 3 years of constant work. 3 years of ships coming and going. 3 years of species working together in ways they never had before. It was not just the Valari people they saved. It was their culture, their history, their art. Human archivists worked alongside Valari scholars. They digitized everything. Millions of years of knowledge. Millions of years of accumulated wisdom. All preserved. All saved engineers studied Valari techniques. Not to copy them, but to understand them. To preserve them, so that even if the physical structures were lost, the knowledge would survive. Young Ho was one of those engineers. He spent 6 months living with a Valari master builder, learning how they grew their cities, how they shaped matter with thought and energy. It was like learning to paint from someone who could paint with pure light. Will you teach others? The master builder asked him one day. Young Ho nodded. Yes, this knowledge is too beautiful to lose. Too important. I will teach others. And they will teach others. Your techniques will survive. The master builder's form glowed with pleasure. Good. This is how knowledge should work. Passed from teacher to student. From species to species. Never hoarded. Always shared. On the final day, Jaehwan stood on the bridge with the same Valari elder. The last transport was leaving the planet. The last Valari were being saved. Below them, the homeworld was empty. Cities of light and thought stood vacant, waiting for a death that was coming soon. The sun flickered one last time. Then it began to collapse. The planet shook. Mountains fell. Oceans boiled. The atmosphere burned away in seconds. The elder's grief washed over the entire bridge. Every human there felt it. the loss, the sadness. A homeworld that had existed for millions of years. Gone in moments, but Jay Juan felt something else too, through the connection with the Elder, through the link they all shared. Gratitude, profound and overwhelming gratitude, and love. A love that transcended species, that transcended biology. The Elder turned to him. Its form was more human now than it had ever been, almost like it was trying to be closer to them, to the species that had saved its people. We lost our home, the Elder said, but we gained something more important. We gained the proof that our choice was right, that helping everyone was the correct path. You did not have to save us, but you did. Not because you owed us, but because you chose to. Because you learned, because you remembered. Jaehwan felt tears on his face. He did not try to wipe them away. You are not homeless, he said. You have 300 homes now. Every species here has offered you sanctuary. You can live anywhere. Everywhere you are part of the galactic family. You always were. But now we have shown you what that means. The Elder's form glowed bright, brighter than Jaehwan had ever seen. And through their connection he understood. This was Valari joy, pure and complete. The fleet began to disperse, ships heading to different worlds, different systems. The Valari were being scattered across the galaxy, but they were together. They were safe. They were home because home was not a place. It was a feeling. The feeling of being cared for, being protected, being part of something bigger than yourself, the feeling of family. 500 years had passed since the Great Rescue. So-Yun walked through the Hall of Remembrance. It was built on the new Valari homeworld, a world they had chosen together. Humans and Valari and dozens of other species, working together to build something new, something better. The hall spiraled upward like a shell. Each level represented a different species. Each level showed how they had participated in Operation Homecoming. At the center was a monument, a sculpture of living light. Only the Valari could make such things, art that existed between dimensions, art that changed when you looked at it. The monument showed two scenes. They shifted back and forth. First, an ancient Valari ship meeting a tiny human vessel, the gift being given, knowledge flowing from old to young. Second, the massive rescue fleet. Thousands of ships, millions of beings, all united to save the saviors. A young Valari approached So-Yun. Its form was still learning to hold shape. Young Valari flickered more than old ones. Like candles in wind, it spoke in perfect Korean. The Valari had learned every language of every species that saved them. It was their way of showing respect. Ambassador So-Yun, it said. I am called Kai-Ven. I study the cascade effect, the chain of kindness that your species helped to amplify. I wanted to ask you something. Did humanity ever regret it? The rescue cost so much. Your economy was damaged for decades. Your colonies were delayed. Your research was redirected. Did you ever wish you had not done it? So-Yun smiled. She had been asked this question before, many times, but she never tired of answering it. We regret nothing, she said. Do you know what we gained? She pulled up a holographic display. Stars appeared in the air, connections between them, lines of trade, lines of communication, lines of friendship. The Valari shared everything with us, not just technology, but your way of thinking, your philosophy, your method of research. You taught us how to learn, how to discover. 300 species worked together for the first time. We learned to coordinate, to communicate, to trust each other, to think as one mind with many voices. The display changed. It showed the modern galaxy, peaceful, connected, thriving. The Galactic Union emerged from Operation Homecoming. Together we have solved problems that no single species could tackle. We cured the Red Death that was killing the Threx. We developed technology that works for everyone, not just one species. We stopped 3 wars before they started, because species who save each other do not want to see each other destroyed. She turned to Kai-Ven. The young Valari's form had stabilized. It was listening carefully. Your ancestors gave us the tools to survive, So-Yun continued. We gave them survival itself. But what we all gained was something neither could achieve alone. A galactic civilization built on compassion, on help, on mutual care. Not on conquest, not on exploitation. On kindness. Kai-Ven's form shimmered. So-Yun had learned to read Valari emotions. This was excitement. The cascade effect continues, Kai-Ven said. We have helped 20 new species in the last century, and they have begun to help others. The chain grows longer every year. Every decade, it never stops, So-Yan nodded. That is what your ancestors created. Not just a gift of technology, but a gift of culture, the idea that the strong should help the weak, that the wise should teach the ignorant, that those who can should protect those who cannot. This idea has spread across the galaxy like light spreading across water. She looked up at the monument, at the two scenes, the giving and the saving, the alpha and omega of the great chain. Humanity did not invent kindness. She said softly, we are not special. But we remembered it when it mattered most. We remembered what it felt like to be saved, to be hopeless and then given hope, to be dying and then given life, and we chose to pass that feeling forward, to give it to others, to make them feel what we felt. That evening, So-Yan stood on her balcony. Below her was the new Valari capital city. It was nothing like their lost homeworld, but it was beautiful in its own way. A hybrid of many styles, Valari grace and human practicality, Karathi agriculture and Threx medicine. 100 species had contributed to building this place. It was truly a shared home. Her communicator chimed. A face appeared in the hologram, Jae-Hwan. He was old now, ancient by human standards. His hair was white. His face was lined, but his eyes were still bright, still sharp. News from the frontier, he said. He could not hide his smile. After all these years, he still loved this work. A new species. They call themselves the Norathi. Technological dead end. Resource crisis. Heading toward complete collapse. So-Yan felt that familiar pull in her chest. The same pull that Captain Daewon had felt 500 years ago. The same pull that Dr. Bora felt. That Sujin felt. That every human who remembered felt. The pull of duty, of compassion, of being part of something greater. How long do they have? She asked. 30 years. Maybe less. Their ecosystem is collapsing. They know they are dying. They are afraid. So-Yan looked up at the stars, at the vast network of civilizations, all connected by invisible threads. Threads of mutual aid, threads of compassion, threads of love. Prepare an aid fleet, she said. Technology packages from humanity, from the Valari, from anyone willing to contribute. Include the complete documentation of the cascade effect. Let them know they are not alone. Let them know help is coming, she paused, then added the most important part. Make sure they understand. We ask for nothing in return. We want no payment, no trade, no debt. We only ask that they remember this moment, and when they are strong again, when they are able, they help the next species in need. Not because they owe us, but because that is what we do. That is what it means to be part of this family. Jae-Hwan saluted. Even after all these years, even as old as he was, he still followed protocol. It will be done, Ambassador. The hologram faded. So-Yan stood alone on her balcony. She smiled. Somewhere across the galaxy, the Norathi had no idea their world was about to change. They did not know that help was coming, that beings from species they had never heard of were already preparing to save them, that the universe was not cruel, that it was not indifferent, that it was in fact full of kindness. They would be confused at first, suspicious. They would ask why. They would ask what the cost was. They would not believe that someone would help for free, but someone would tell them the story. The whole story. About an ancient species called the Valari. About how they helped a struggling race called humanity. About how humanity grew and thrived. About how, when the time came, humanity moved stars and planets to save their saviors. About how one act of kindness became a cascade that transformed an entire galaxy. The Norathi would listen. They would learn. They would accept the help. They would survive. And someday, maybe in 100 years, maybe in 1,000, they would find another species in trouble. Another civilization on the edge of extinction. And they would remember. They would remember being saved. They would remember the feeling of hope when there was no hope. The feeling of life when death seemed certain. And they would help. Not because they had to. Not because someone forced them. But because they chose to. Because they had learned. Because they were part of the chain now. Part of the great cascade of kindness that stretched across space and time. So-Yan looked up at the stars one more time. Somewhere up there the Norathi were waiting, not knowing that salvation was coming, not knowing that the universe cared, but they would learn, just as humanity had learned, just as every species in the chain had learned. The cascade would continue forever, as long as someone remembered, as long as someone chose kindness over cruelty, help over indifference, Compassion over fear, as long as someone remembered what it felt like to be saved.